Here, I will show you how to work with a full project in Prython. I will be using Python, Pandas, and scikit-learn. I will hide the file navigator using the Preferences menu. I can use F1 to turn off the UI elements, so I get a cleaner view of the project. The intention here is to show the available functionality and not discuss the specific machine learning aspects. So I will separate this project into 3 logical blocks, and I will use pandas to achieve this. I want to have a data loading step here on top. Here we use pandas to read 2 different files into data frames. I want to have a merging stage where I join the 2 inputs. This will be a simple merge in pandas. And then I will have 2 models in scikit-learn. One here on the left, it will be an extra trees model, and on the right, a random forest. For both models, let's start by printing the cross-validation score. Okay, so let's run this. We have 3 running modes here. The first one runs just this panel. Let's try it. The other panels were obviously not executed. The second button runs the panels connected to in, plus this very same panel. In this case, we don't have anything connected to in, so it will run just this panel. We get obviously the same thing we had before. Let's try the last button. We run everything. Notice that each panel indicates how long it took and when it finished. Now this looks different. All the panels got executed. The first obvious thing here is that the data frames get loaded next to each panel that created or modified them. Each data frame has a title showing the number of records and columns. Prython adds an extra column with the index of the data frame. I can enlarge them if I want to. Let's move them and add a new label indicating that these are the input data frames. I can also add a bracket. I can also add a note somewhere over here that says that I executed this on June 2022. By the way, we can see all the data frames by going into the data frame mode. Let's move to the second panel. Here we join the 2 data frames to create this merged underscore data frame. We then filter some columns that we will use for a model later. Actually, we will want to model this column is underscore VIP underscore client in terms of all the other variables. This part over here is only needed for scikit-learn. I will actually work with 2 arrays, one with pure numeric features called X and another one with dummies. This means zeros and ones that I will create using this pandas.getDummies. The NumPy array dimensions are shown next to each panel. Let's add a code area to describe what each area is doing. This feature is only available on the Pro version. I can highlight each part and put a label. Finally, I have the 2 models. You can see each one printed the cross-validation scores. Let's suppose I want to change the scoring metric for something else, for example, accuracy. In order to rerun everything, we can just go to the top and click again here. But the problem is that this recomputes the other panel as well over here, the other model. But I didn't change anything there. I don't want to rerun it. I can just click on here, the second run option, and this runs all the panels connected to in plus this very same panel. But before doing it, let's save somewhere a copy of these results. I will freeze the results. Let's add a drawing here so we can remember what this is. Okay, let's rerun this. We have our results back. Let's suppose I don't want to keep this extra trees model. We can hide it. Let's add a new model using support vector machines. I add the panel and I connect it. Let's unhide the extra trees model again. I changed my mind. Perhaps we should keep it. One thing that I don't like here is that the models take too much of my screen, and I want to see the results next to each other. I can create a copy of each output window, and since they are small, I can put them side by side. Let's rerun everything, and this will be populated. This is actually amazing when perhaps we want to see maybe 10 or 15 outputs together side by side. Okay, so here I have the 3 output windows. I can use the console to inspect specific elements, but in order to make it work, I need to click in here. This saves the states for each panel. I need to rerun everything. I can now call the console, for example here, and let's look at X. Not every Python object is stored. For the time being, NumPy arrays, pandas data frames, and Python primitives objects are supported. For R panels, the story is different. Everything is saved there. Wait, does this mean that we can't use Python in a true interactive way, like we use a typical cell in Jupyter Notebook, where we just put our code, we run, we put a new code, we run? No way. Let me show you how to do that. So far, I have been using the standard mode. You can see it here. It means that we connect things and we run them. Every time we press run, a new Python session is created and is finished. This means that if we want to add code, I can add it in a panel and I need to rerun everything. This is very inefficient because all the previous panels are recomputed every time. For example, if here we want to do something here with the scores of the model, we need to rerun everything. If we click in here, the free mode is activated. You can see the connections disappeared and we only have one run button. So let's run the first panel again. Then the second. And now you can see I run each model separately. And only one panel runs at a time. No more recomputing of previous panels. I want to change a model, for example this extra trees model, no problem. I press run here and I don't need to run anything again. Notice that whenever I run a panel in free mode, the new outputs get appended to the existing ones that I have for each panel. In the standard mode, whenever I press run, everything got cleaned and then everything started again. We can do something slightly more complicated here. We can add plots inside a new panel, which will be consuming the data frame that we defined in the beginning for the first panel. You can see again, nothing else was recomputed. This panel is completely independent of the rest. This free mode is amazing for quick development, but it gets messy quickly because you need to remember the order of execution. Typically, after I have developed in free mode, I go back to standard mode and connect things in a logical manner. Here, let's do that. We connect the plots to the first panel. I hope this example was useful for illustrating the main point in Prython. By using this visual approach, we can decompose our project into parts that are very easy to navigate around. This is fantastic, especially for data-intensive projects in R or Python.